you're just seeing this for the first time, this is a bug from the when the Hashidatis is actually on the enemy team. So, but it's a Grozvo versus Gearing. So the Gearing smoke combo may or may not work together with the Des Moines. So they may work as a team. The Minotaur might work on his own because he may be a smoke Minotaur, and then you've got triple Henry. So 2 Henrys probably plays as a team of 2. And the 3rd Henry probably supports the Gearing and the Des Moines as a group of 3 as well. Battleships staying in positions where they can do flanking crossfire. In terms of the SGC side, Grozvoy with the Worcester, they might work in combination or separate. With the Minotaur, Minotaur might be smoke and he might work with the Worcester as a team. The Henrys will possibly work as a pair like they did last time because it was a 4 Henry Royal Rumble in the last game. So we'll see how the team kind of composition splits out. Now, the nature of this map is that there are plenty of islands in the center where you can move up to. So for example, well, we'll wait till we get killed off, but there's this little island section here, there's this little island section up here, where you can park ships, and provided you have supporting teammates that prevent the enemy team from pushing around, like if you park a ship here, you go all the way around wide and you can shoot this way. Or if you have a parked guy here, the team goes all the way wide around there and starts taking long shots, cross shot into that way. But the advantage of, there we go, the advantage of taking those particular locations is you get an 8.6 kilometer AA bubble in the center and you can't be shot at. And that denies sight and information to the enemy team. So what I'm talking about is here. You can snuggle up to this island this way, facing kind of nose in, and then you can't be shot from anything around here, and then your AA magically goes through mountains and then kills everything. And you can see the first TB spots are incoming already. And this is the fighter that comes up immediately to do kind of air denial, to try and stop him, so you'd probably go along sideways. And it's the same thing over here. You kind of put a ship along here to do the same thing to AA block, but pushing from the backline up to the island is risky because everyone can see you and they can fire at you in that push. So sometimes you'll see a Stalingrad move up and he'll get smoked into position, or maybe not Stalingrad, but you know, something with long range AA. Anyway, so the TB's been chased. He's faster, but not fast enough to go around a corner, so the fighter could chase him, but it can be microed. In terms of sight control, the enemy TB, right, so they're not chasing the SGC, so he's going around the back line, sees Henry, sees Republic, sees Yamato, sees the initial kind of positioning. What he does not see is the cruiser setup, where the cruiser's going. You know, other than the Henry, like where is the Minotaur, the Des Moines, that type of stuff in the Gearing. They're probably going to go with the Yamato to A, as a guess. Initial kind of long shots. And you see this fighter's actually cornering the torpedo bomber off. In fact, he's tagged him now. So he's tagged him. That TB will die. Whereas over here, this TB's on the back line. He's escaped, and he can stay outside of the AA of the Republic and the Yamato. He keep them perma spotted, and you don't use that torpedo bomber to spot the enemy team unless it's called for. If you can't ship spot, gun spot, or radar spot. Oh, so that's an exit strafe, and then that's a follow strafe. And this fighter's over here, and then he gets punished. Now that's SGC doing that, and SGC is the Asian team, so that's quite impressive because they have the long latency. Now we've got a 2 versus 1 because he exit strafed and then followed strafe to punish it, so this is now 2 versus 1, and this is getting air control. But while this is happening, both teams are getting a spotting over on either side with the dive bombers, so, you know, hey, they see kind of what's going on. Worcester, though, should be able to flak this. No, he's outside of AA range. Alright, I take that back. Okay, so if you're the carrier, you'll probably recycle the one group, keep that 5-group fighter out, or maybe even chase down that dive bomber while your own dive bomber provides scout. Oh, they know the Gearing is moving up to AB. You know what? If you park, I was going to say, if you park a cruiser in here, you park like the Worcester in there, that's a massive AA bubble that overlaps like a bunch of ships, but it's so risky, it's so ballsy because you're basically snuggling up to this island watching for like Grozvoy, Henry, or anything on the flank. But if you know where they are, then it's not so bad. Okay, so here we go. Minotaur moves up. He's got 8.6 kilometer AA, and he's going to snuggle up right close to this island. And it means also they can sneak forward ever so slightly and grab the point. But can the Henrys help prevent any kind of crossfire? Because they see this and they're just going to take little chumping hits, and especially this Gearing is kind of awkward. Now, what is doing the spotting? Radar? The fact that these guys are spotted makes me feel that this Minotaur is providing a radar to give sight on this gearing, because there's no ship detection and there's no planes nearby that could do it. Okay, so Minotaur going to crawl up, probably not grab the cap, but the gearing could. In terms of the rest of the game, we see there's a Henry. I mean, the team's got 3 Henrys, so we still don't know whether... No, there's 2 Henrys on the western flank. So there's 1 Henry, 1 Republic, and they're really just looking at A, kind of. But I doubt that the Smile team can see what is in Charlie. I mean, sorry, I meant looking at Charlie to defend anything going Charlie. Like, the Worcester's got A over Charlie. The issue is there's only 1 destroyer for the SGC team, and he's all the way over in Alpha. Otherwise, this DD would be sneaking it and grabbing Charlie. The Worcester could in theory reverse in safely and grab the cap, but if he gets spotted by anything, because the cap starts to flip, Suicide Plane comes in, the Republic and the Henry could punish him pretty hard. The central Minotaur is going to try and reverse into Bravo and stall point generation, which can happen. He just needs to be careful of this guy, because if that Minotaur has some form of detection, hydro, or a plane comes in, he can be punished pretty hard by the Yamato here, and as soon as B gets stalled, they'll know there's a guy here. In fact, that's an AA flak shot right there on probably that dive bomber. No, that fire. So he's probably seen. Yep, he is. So he's going to pull out there because he can't stay under Yamato fire. Yeah. And the Henrys have moved up to this. Oh, Henry and Des Moines. Interesting. So they've moved up to this kind of island here, which is good cover. It basically means you can't be torped, and you can kind of do lob shots over and with the sight game. So it's kind of interesting. On the flank, we got a 2 versus 1. I'm just watching the air duels at the moment, because in theory, this Republic is vulnerable. He only has a Henry for air defense. This Yamato is also theoretically vulnerable. So if SGC can get temporary air control, they can actually fly down the corridor on this, because they can't do this east side, because they can't go down the west, because the Des Moines there, even though it's only 7.2 kilometer area. Let's keep that area off. And the Minotaur in the center is blocked off the whole center, so the only place you can realistically fly through is Charlie. So if you had double TBs, which he doesn't, because I think he's maybe trying to scout with them, he's going to lose them here to this Minotaur as well. You would prep double TB, and you'd come along down, and then you'd go through the gap. You'd possibly go for the Republic if it splits from the Henry, and if not, you could go down and along into the Yamato. But that makes it risky, because then you've got AA bubbles all around you, and you're fishing for a target. And if the Yamato isn't a focus fire, you probably wouldn't bomb just right now. You'd probably wait until later game when a target's already wounded. Now, in terms of this Republican Henry, it's 2 versus 1, but the Conqueror's here. The Worcester, he's too far away, but he could also assist. It's all about kind of watching your health pools, not getting, blapped. Double cap control, and this is something we have to take into consideration though for Smile. Smile has the cap control, and you see how their ships are actually ingrained in the island chain. Only this Minotaur is trying to get into the sort of central area to kind of get control. On this flank, they can't move up because there's nowhere realistically safe to go. And this wide flanking Republic Henry punishes anyone that goes into Charlie. And then over on the A side, you can't really move up to A and then control A without being shot at from the south. So the south here gets an advantage when it comes to the map of Sea of Fortune. But you know where the ships are, you know they're in this area, and if you can push wide and you can push a ship out, punish him, damage him, because that's where he is, you can kill him. If you can kill him, they're down ships, and then you can push down the line and you can come back in points. That's how the game is. I'm not going to use the word throws, because the word throws doesn't exist. These are... Oh, wow, and that's the problem with the Minotaur going in by himself. He doesn't have the AA... Well, specifically, he doesn't have the panic defensive fire. He's going to die here. Okay, so that was a defensive fire from the Worcester, but it was too late. He may have dodged those, but a single top was enough, and that's realistically a huge AP shot that crippled his health pool there. And this is because he's up there by himself, and he doesn't have any team support. So this isn't like throws. Like, for example, if SGC here was to rally, was to kill off this Minotaur and to push back into A and get B control, that is not a throw. That is just smart tactical gameplay from the map. Because the SGC has the advantages, they know the positions of where the Smile team is, and the Smile team can't reposition. They can't re-maneuver. That's where they are. So it gives game initiative to the SGC in the sense that, all right, we know where you are, we know what you have, we know what you're doing, now it's our plan. And this is where they would push or they'd attack or whatever. And then it comes down to player skill, making a kill, making a play happen, or dislodging a ship and killing them off. And then once you've killed some ships, their firepower is less, their health pool is less, and then you can push and you can make a game plan. You get more ships, you grab caps, and then it flips back. That is not a flop, that is not a throw of a game, that's just how high level gameplay plays. And if you actually took part in competitive gameplay, you would know that. Right. So for SGC, they're down their Minotaur in the center. Now for what that means for the carrier and side control from the team is that the enemy, this is the Smile CV, can now fly in the center with impunity. He doesn't have to worry about AA, he can stay on top of his Minotaur, he can keep him protected from any type of plane spotting, which is what this TB is trying to do. This Minotaur can't really be seen, he can't really be fired at, they need to use radars, which involves the Worcester, but he's too far away. The Mossfa is on the extreme flank, so his radar can't come into assistance here either, so this guy's relatively quite safe. And since they don't have the other Minotaur, which I'm assuming was radar, they can't see this guy. And it's going to be quite challenging. I don't see how SGC can come into this, because if they push into Charlie, the Henry Republic combo is going to punish them, and the Yamato could also do long range kind of broadside shots. Pushing into A doesn't seem like a good idea, because you've got Des Moines, double Henry, Yamato, and Gearing, possibly even Minotaur all waiting for it, and the B is locked down as well because you've lost your stealthy cruiser. So at a certain point, SGC, they're down 2 caps, it's 3 minutes 50 until Smile wins, and this is where we go back to the I feel Smile as the stronger team here, in terms of their positional play and how they set up. What is SGC going to do? And honestly, I don't know what they can do. There's no way these TBs from Smile are going to do anything, not that they need to, but this is a Groz fight, he's got a defensive fire. Unless he knows the defensive fire's already been triggered, yeah, I tell you what, he's dislodging the Groz fight. That's a panic effect, he knows the edge, but the Grosvoy stops. That's a defensive fire. And the SGC Grosvoy is kind of spooked. I mean, he can be shot at. He didn't really need to move that much, but he did accelerate, he did move, he did kind of back off, and if there were more ships that could be ready to fire, that's how you punish a guy. You don't need to make the bombs connect, you know, you just need to dislodge him, make a move, you know? Well, less than 3 minutes now until Smile wins. What's the game plan for SGC? What do they do? I mean, this Henry is way up on the back line, probably for a good reason, you know, so that he can take long-range shots, but if you're thinking, I must push for the cap or I must push towards other ships, that takes a long time to sail, and with 2 minutes 30, they need to stall cap timers, and the game itself has only got 8 minutes, and they're not generating any points themselves. So this is going to turn into a not grab the capture points and then it's a dramatic reversal of fortunes. No, you're going to have to grab the capture points and then make a whole variety of kills. And then the issue is when you're fighting extreme long ranges like this Mossfa on Henry, once the Henry decides, you know what, my health pool is now low enough and I need to be careful, he then stops firing. He stops firing, he goes stealth. His Des Moines AA scouts can't come in, he backs off, he stays alive, and then you, the attacking team, need to push up and chase the team down. The problem is you don't have enough time for that. It's 2 minutes and less. So Worcester has left Island 1. He's now pushing up to Island 2. He could do radar, but this guy, this Minotaur snuggled up real close. I don't see how he's going to be dislodged. And he can stall the BCAT for points as well. Yep, and the Henry sees the Worcester. He's trying to get a shot on him. It's dangerous. Republic, if he sees the Worcester, could punt. Oh, he does see him. But can he get an accurate shot? No, not yet. So I didn't actually see whether or not this Minotaur has smoke, and I think it could be radar, and he could be detecting this Worcester because I don't actually see any planes. He probably is, and he's getting this kind of, so he's, even if it doesn't kill him, it stalls him, makes him wait, because now there's 60 seconds. Now SGC has to be desperate. And we see that the Smile carrier is having a bit of a field day here. He's got air control, he's got, well, limited. He's only got a single fighter, so he has to be quick on this Yamato drop. He just needs to punish some health, do a little dive bomb, do a little torque drop, no defensive fires nearby. This fighter can, only thing it can do is strafe. to try and stop. So you can either duke back, it doesn't need to, and then now it just drops in because this is locked in a strafe. He just drops right now before the panic effect kicks in. Yeah, so I don't think the Yamato will die here, but it's going to force the damage control party. It's going to hurt him. It's going to force him to turn. He's not going to push into a cap. And to be fair, if Smile wanted to be more aggressive, then this Yamato will be your perfect target. But they don't need to be, so they can just stay hidden. It appears that SGC doesn't know what to do, and as a result, because they don't know what to do, they're struck by paralysis. Like, what's this Worcester going to do? On 994 points, he's going to reverse into the B cap? What about the A cap? That's not going to do anything. Yeah, so... it's a good play by Smile. And it all comes down to realistically one key element. That is the Minotaur that is trying to reverse into the B cap for SGC, creating an AA bubble, denying Sout, and then stalling the B cap. Right? So he's stalling the B cap, but the A cap was still grabbed by Smile. So, I mean, they're still going to be down on points in that sense. And they were beginning to dislodge the Minotaur that was hiding behind that kind of island chain there. But the sight on him and the denial was all from this Minotaur. All the main sight was coming from him because any type of plane scouting, you lose it all. And it's not something you can do on a long-term basis. So, if you look at the plane kills here, you'll see that that Minotaur on the enemy team, he was just eating up planes from the center. And the Minotaur in the second that died, he was starting to, but he didn't. And then it fell back to the Grozovai to do some work. So... it's all like very, very small elements that kind of flip a game here. But that Minotaur was by himself, and the enemy team, this being the SGC team, was too far back, and the Smile team had got up into position, and that was them.